Hey y'all! Alright, this is part 2 of the video series, and today we're going to talk about how being neurotic in the off-season might hurt you in the long run. I've seen this a lot lately, and it's really sad. People, whether it's through social media or it's through personal interactions with others or clients that I have, and it's really people who are, just not really in a good place mentally, that they should be in an off season. Like with anything, macro tracking can become very obsessive, and people who are obsessive are usually people who are in the fitness industry. That's just kind of how it goes. I'm sure you guys can relate. Most of us are pretty type A, pretty obsessive compulsive, for a variety of things. And macro tracking can be no different. Some people go to it and they're like, oh, this is so freeing, I can eat whatever I want. But you still have constraints in what you can eat. I mean, that's the whole point. You can eat whatever you want, but you have to fit it within a certain amount. And that's where it can get kind of taken to the next level where, oh, I need 75 grams of this and not 73. Things like that. Basically, in the long run, this can be more detrimental for your long-term adherence and goals than you think it is. A great example of this would be, say somebody's eating a lot of food, right? Say like 250 carbs or something like that, which isn't a ton, I understand that, but it's a good amount, especially for a female, and you feel like you can't go and eat out because you don't know what's in something, or you have to weigh and track everything that you've made. There's totally a time and a place for that. I am a very big advocate of being precise during your competition season, especially if it's close. But if you are 3 months into an off season, you're eating a lot, you're maintaining your weight, but you have to weigh everything down to the gram, everything that you've made yourself, that kind of warrants a discussion with either a coach or a friend who's going through something like that. But it really, really needs to be examined, because it's not a healthy relationship with food at all. And the whole point of tracking macros is to be able to fit foods that you enjoy into your life, and really live your life. Like, I think some people forget, you know what I mean, that this is bodybuilding we're talking about, and I am all for being the most dedicated people in the world, but you have to have some kind of life also, right? And if every day of your life you're worried about tracking something so you can hit 300 grams of carbs perfectly, not 302, then it's become another disordered eating kind of behavior. And I don't want anyone to be going through that. And I tend to be someone who can be a little bit stricter when I'm tracking. It's either like one or the other, and it's taken me a really, really long time to get over that, which I think is why a lot of the videos that I talk about, I never want people to think that I'm just talking about them in a negative way. A lot of it is stuff that I've seen, but a lot of it's also stuff that I've been through, which is why I make videos about it, because I feel like I can help people with my experiences. So trust me when I understand the being neurotic thing. And again, has a time and a place. You're 4 weeks out from a competition. You're not really going to put into chance what somebody's cooking for you. But the flip side of that, deep into an off season, you're eating a lot. You need to be a little bit more relaxed so that you can have your long-term goals and not sabotage. Because think about it, when you're doing a prep or you're doing something that needs a lot of willpower, now you've kind of been like this all year round. At some point, you're most likely are going to snap. Maybe not everyone, right? There's always going to be those people that don't. But for the majority of people, even though we think we're really badass, a lot of times we can kind of snap under that pressure, because we only have so much willpower to go around. So don't really waste it in the off season. Be intelligent with things. Don't watch this video and go, oh, I can just go and do whatever I want now. No. But things are within reason. If basically the big thing is, if you can't get out of your bubble and guesstimate, is kind of where I have the issue as a coach and a friend to people, and I want to like help them, again, because I've been there. So it's not fun, and it's a lot better to be able to do something where you feel in control, but you don't feel like you have to control every variable. It's a really big difference. I can go out to eat now and pretty much order whatever I want. Me ordering XYZ is all under my control, all my own decision. If I've eaten a lot earlier, I can order lighter. If I've saved up, I can order more. And I can kind of guesstimate based on what I'm eating, and I'm in control of that, but I haven't controlled every little piece of something. So there's a really big difference. If you're feeling good about stuff, but then just being neurotic and wasting wasting your willpower in the off season. Something else that I also struggle with personally, and I'm sure people can relate, is that being really strict with tracking gets exhausting. For me, after a competition, that's probably the hardest part about wanting to do anything, because I'm just like, I've done this for how long, you know what I mean? And it's very easy when you have that goal like right in your face, right? Like a show, like getting in a bikini on stage. But when you're not, you're just kind of like, oh, I'll be a little bit more loose, which again is fine. But for me, what I would find happen is that I would kind of swing one way or the other, like tracking everything or just like, fuck it, you know, and there needs to be an in-between those two, right? So again, hopefully people can relate to this. I'm not the only person. Maybe I am, but I doubt it. So if tracking is really exhausting for you, what you can do is just try to be less rigid. And again, that doesn't happen overnight. Very difficult concept for me to learn. Took me a long time to learn. Coming from true eating disorders to kind of just disordered eating with things, it can be very touchy to, you know, learn that. But there's gonna be times where, you know, things work out how you want and then other times they don't. So you really have to just force yourself into these situations where you're out of your comfort zone and you kind of ease into it that way. So just being less rigid with tracking. I also find that with eating out and things like that, or eating anything that's not prepared for me, I actually do a better job just kind of eyeballing what's going on. You know, for the rest of your life, I don't want people to be invited to a party and bring their own food. Again, if you're off season and things like that, because it's just really no way to live, right? Even if you are prepping, ask beforehand what they're gonna have, or just bring something like, you know, for everyone. Just find ways to be more flexible and a little bit less rigid. And, you know, lifelong maintenance is really what this is gonna like work on. And adherence. I didn't mean maintenance. I'm saying that, I'm like, why am I saying this? And I couldn't have edited that out. So this is a really awkward part, but I'm a junior editor of films, so sorry for that. The last thing I want to talk about is something that I've actually implemented with some of my clients recently, and they really liked it. I think we've gotten good feedback, and it's these untracked weeks. So again, people who are in the off season, people who are eating a decent amount, and basically what I tell them is, I'm just like, hey, you know, go and just kind of eat your normal foods, but don't track everything. You don't have to weigh everything, because for the most part, okay, let's be honest with ourselves, we eat a lot of the same things, and anytime you cook something, if you can't eyeball it, that's kind of a problem, right? You know, you really can be able to, okay, that's 6 ounces, about 6 ounces. If it's 7 or if it's 5, it's not the end of the world, right? So that's kind of what this week would be about if I tell people to do this. You know, eat your normal foods, kind of have an idea, and this is not a free-for-all. This is not an excuse to go binge, like, oh, I don't have numbers anymore, I'm good. Because if you're feeling like that within numbers, then you're already having a problem, right? If you're so rigid within your macro tracking that if you go a week without tracking that you like lose control of everything, then we need to kind of backtrack and work on why are we so rigid all the time normally. And I found that I've had a really good response with clients. It's kind of like a good mental break. And if people are in a good spot, they usually pretty much maintain or just go up a little bit. So it's really not this scary thing. It kind of sounds scary when they get the update back, I'm sure, and they're like, what is this? But it's really good of a mental kind of break. And it's also a good challenging exercise to kind of see how you do, right? Again, if you're so neurotic all the time that you can't handle steps away without tracking, you need to have a conversation with yourself, with your coach, somebody else who does the similar types of things. So I want people really to be able to, you know, maximize long-term adherence. That's the goal of all of this, and not wasting your willpower off season where it could be put towards other things like, you know, enjoying your life, training, and, you know, things like that. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, this is not to be like, don't be so neurotic. Like, I have been that person, you know what I mean? So that's why I like to make these types of videos. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. Thanks for watching.